Good morning. We'll start with section 10.1 for today. Make sure that you have your notes with Cami and watch this video on your YouTube, maybe using your phone or a different device so you can write your notes along the way, because the notes, you will have to upload the notes for today, and also you will have to upload your assignment. Consider all the ways a circle and a line can intersect. Can you visualize a line and a circle that intersect at exactly one point? What about a line that intersects a circle twice? On your paper, draw a diagram for each one of the following situations, if possible. If it's not possible, explain why. I drew 4 different circles on my paper, and the first one is draw a line and a circle that do not intersect. So here we go. Kind of think about them. They're parallel to each other, which is they will never intersect. So here's A. For B, draw a line and a circle that intersect on only one exactly point. So here, I'll make sure that the line and the circle intersect in only one point, and this one, we'll call it a tangent. Third scenario, draw a line and a circle that intersects at exactly 2 points. So when it intersects at 2 points, here we go. And when it intersects in 2 points, then we call this line a secant. The last scenario, draw a line and a circle that intersects 3 times. 3 times, that would make it impossible because it's either intersects at 2 points or 1 point, or do not even intersect at all. But for it to have a line, that intersects a circle at 3 points, it would never be a straight line. So with this last scenario, it's not possible. Now, I would recommend that you work on question number 2, all of the 8 different problems from A all the way to F. When you're done, come and watch the remaining of this video to double check your work. For A, they have PQ as a tangent to circle C at P. If PQ is equal to 5, so I have PQ is equal to 5, and CQ is equal to 6, and find CP and the measure of angle C. So I want to find, I'll name this one CP, I'll name it as X. And also I want to figure out measure of angle C, which is right there. Now, knowing that this is a tangent line and you have one of, like the tangent line, when it intersects with a radius, then this angle must be 90 degrees. So the tangent line and the radius, both of them, if they meet in one point, then you will end up having a 90-degree angle. Now you have 2 sides in a right triangle and you want to find the third side, so eventually you can apply your Pythagorean theorem. I'll put x squared plus 5 squared is equal to 6 squared. Simplifying further, x squared plus 25 is equal to 36. X squared is equal to 36 minus the 25, which will make x squared is equal to 11. And from there, x is equal to the square root of 11, which is approximately 3.3. Now I figured out the value of CP. So CP is equal to 3.3, approximately 3.3. But now you want to figure out the measure of angle C. There's multiple ways to find angle C, especially it's a right triangle, so I can use my SOHCAHTOA. And I have all of the 3 sides at this point, but I would prefer to use the 2 whole sides, which is like without a decimal, so I'll use 5 and 6. From angle C, 5 is consider your opposite, and the 6 represents it, since it's across from my right angle, it's considered your hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse, both of them with the angle, will be using at this point sine. So sine of angle C is equal to 5 over 6. And simplifying further, I need to make sure that angle C will equal, this is, remember, when you're trying to find an angle, if it's missing, then you're using the second sine. This is the only time that you will use second sine of 5 over 6. Make sure your calculator is in degrees mode. And this will be approximately 56.4 degrees. Moving on to question B. In circle H, the measure of arc dr is equal to 40. So I'm going to make sure that I put the information down. So this arc is equal to 40 dr. Also measure of arc GOR. So GOR. So this whole arc is equal to 210. You want to find the measure of arc GD. So I'll try to make sure that, so here, you want to find the measure of arc GD. And also you want to find the measure of arc OR. And also you want to find the angle RGO. Angle RGO is an inscribed angle because the vertex is on the circle itself. And as soon as you find the arc RO, you will be able to find the measure of RGO. But let's work on first finding GD first. Looking forward again, this arc is equal to 210. This part here is equal to 40. All around the circle is 360. So the measure of arc GD will equal to 360 minus 210 minus 40, which is equal to 110. So I found that measure of arc GD is equal to 110 degrees. Now I would like to find the measure of arc RO. Now this side, which is segment GO, it's the diameter of a circle. So you will have the arc GDO is equal to 180. If CD is equal to 110 and DR is equal to 40, so the remaining arc, which is RO, will equal to, so measure of arc RO will equal to 180 minus 110 minus the 40, which should equal to 30 degrees. So measure of arc RO is equal to 30 degrees. And RO correspond to angle C as an inscribed angle. So if RO is equal to 30, then the measure of angle RGO is equal half of the 30 because it's an inscribed angle, and that's equal to 15 degrees. Moving on to this question, AC is the diameter of the circle. BC and ED, they have the same symbol and they're parallel to each other. You want to find the measure of arc CD. Now, look at this question. I have those lines are parallel to each other, so eventually those two angles must be equal to each other because they are alternative interior angles. Not only that, those two sides are equal to each other because both of them are radius. So if those two are radius and they're equal to each other, then eventually the measure of those two angles must be equal to each other because you're ending up with an isosceles triangle. So triangle EBC is an isosceles triangle because the two sides, EB and EC, both of them, each one of them is a radius of the same circle. So you have eventually an isosceles triangle. Looking even at this question again, this is 90 degrees, so angle AEB is 90 degrees, giving us the indication that angle AEC will be also 90 degrees. I figured out that this is 90 degrees. So if this is 90 degrees and it's an isosceles triangle, then each one of those angles, EBC and ECB, will be equal to 45 degrees. I mentioned that those lines are parallel to each other. So if those lines are parallel to each other, then angle CED will equal to angle ECB, and each one of them will equal to 45 degrees because they're alternative interior angles. And if lines are parallel, then alternative interior angles are equal to each other. Now, knowing that this is 45 degrees and it's not an inscribed angle, it's a central angle because the vertex is on the circle itself, then the arc CD corresponds to this angle, which is CED. So if this angle is 45, this arc would be 45 degrees as well. So the measure of arc CD is equal to 45 degrees. This question is quite tricky, but I'm hoping that you get it when you're trying to solve it before you watch this part of the video. You were introduced to a similar question to D the day before 2 times. So they're saying that HJ and IK intersects at G. They said also that HG is equal to 9, GJ is equal to 8. They said also that GK is equal to 6, and you want to find IG, so I'll name it X. Now recall from yesterday that we talked about those two triangles being similar when H and K are equal to each other because they share the same intercepted arc, IG. And also angle I and angle J are equal to each other. Two of them are inscribed angles that share the same intercepted arc, HK. Also, you have those two angles are vertical angles, so eventually those two triangles are similar to each other. I'm trying to make it color-coded so you know that which side corresponds to, again, which side from the other triangle. So I'll have here 9 over. The 9 is between the red and the pink one, so it would be, again, correspond to the other side from the second triangle between the red and the pink, which is 6, equal to x over 8. From there, I can do my cross and multiply. 6 times x is equal to 9 times 8. 9 times 8 is equal to 72, equal to 6x divided by 6 on both sides, which will make x is equal to 12. We'll move on to question E. AC is a diameter of circle E, and the area of the circle is equal to 289 pi units squared. AB is given to us as 16, so I'll put this information down on the circle. You want to find not only the segment BC, which represents a chord, but also you want to find the measure of arc BC. So BC as a chord, you want to find it, and also you want to find the measure of BC. I'll use this information, which is the area, to find the radius of the circle. So I'll put here the area of a circle. The rule for an area of a circle is pi r squared is equal to 289 pi. I'll divide by pi on both sides, so r squared is equal to 289. I'll do the square root on both sides, so r is equal to the square root of 289 is 17. I figured out my radius is equal to 17, which will make AC is equal to double of the radius, which is equal to 34. So now I have AC is equal to 34. Since the radius is equal to 17, 17 times 2 is 34. Recall, AC again is a diameter in that circle, which will make this arc is equal to 180 degrees. And if this arc is 180 degrees, then angle B is an inscribed angle because the vertex is on the circle, and it corresponds to arc AC, which is the diameter of the circle, which will make angle B is a right angle. 180 divided by 2 is 90. Now, since I have a triangle, a right triangle, and I have two sides in that right triangle, I can figure out my third side by applying my Pythagorean theorem. So I'll say that 16 squared plus x squared equal to 34 squared. Simplifying further, x squared, or x is equal to, after doing the 34 squared minus the 16 squared and applying the square root of that, x is equal to 30. So now side BC is equal to 30, which will make BC is equal to 30. Now I'm left over to figure out what's the measure of arc BC. BC as an arc corresponds to angle A as an inscribed angle. So if I succeed to find angle A, I'll be able to figure out what would be the measure of arc BC. Now, it's a right triangle, so I can use my SOHCAHTOA again. So I'll say that I can use the 3 as my opposite, the 34 as my hypotenuse. So I'll do sine of angle A is equal to 30 over the 34, which will make angle A is equal the inverse of sine. I would like to remind you again, make sure that your calculator is in in degrees mode. So make sure again your calculator is in degrees mode. The inverse of sine of 30 over 34 is equal to approximately 61.93. Since I get that angle A is equal to 61.93, now I can figure out the measure of arc BC. The measure of the arc corresponded to, like, that's linked to the inscribed angle would be twice of that inscribed angle, because the inscribed angle is equal half of the intercepted arc. So the arc must be double of your inscribed angle. So the measure of arc BC is equal to double of the angle A, which is, so the measure of arc BC is equal to 123.9. Hang in there, guys. We have the last question to work on. They have ABC is inscribed in the circle below using the measurement. So only the measurement that's found in this triangle. You want to find the measure of arc AB. To find the measure of arc B, I need to find all of the different arcs in that circle, and then I can subtract everything from 360. The question comes here. Could you find the measure of arc AC? Because this will solve this whole puzzle if I can find the measure of arc AC. Arc AC corresponds to that angle, which is angle B. So you have angle B correspond to arc AC. If angle B is 65, then a measure of arc AC would be double of that angle, which is equal to 130. 65 times 2 is 130. So I found out this is 130. Now, all around the circle is 360 degrees. All around the circle is 360. So the measure of arc AB will equal to 360 minus the 130 minus the 112, and that's equal to 118 degrees. This question will conclude today's lesson. Make sure that you upload your notes on Kami's, but not only upload your notes, make sure that you go to your assignment of the day and complete that assignment of the day. So 2 things that you need to upload. You need to upload, first of all, your notes. You're watching the video and you're trying to take notes, and you're making sure that your notes are taken, and also make sure that you do your homework assignment and upload your homework assignment in Google Classroom. Everything is laid out in your Google Classroom account. Okay, have a great day, guys.